27 minutes.
A timer.
A timer for 27 minutes, yeah.
Faith in open charity.
What is it?
Faith.
Faith?
Oh, that's even weirder.
Like,
yeah.
Bathe?
I thought it was bathed in hope and
Bathed
charity.
in open
Jared. You said it?
Yes.
Alright, camera recording?
Yeah. We're going to need to set these levels.
Very strange that I have a large nose, and I'll tell you why.
I guess you're privileged to have a big nose then, because you don't live in harsh conditions.
The habanero one? Holy fuck, dude. Woo! You know, maybe I've been treating this bike as some sort of parkour bike when really it's just a...
I once came face to face with a wild rhinoceros. That was pretty crazy.
I got stung by a bee once.
All right, welcome back to the podcast, everyone. We have two special guests here today. Phoebe returning.
I know. You're only returning
Second
guest.
time!
I think the first...
Our only guest ever. No, we did have Kevin on them.
We had Kevin, we had Robin on,
Oh,
and we
right,
had Phoebe.
right.
This is the fourth time we're having guests, but we should definitely be doing it more.
Your first returning guest.
Yeah.
Were you on when we were still in single digits? I think so. It's been a while.
Yeah, maybe.
And then we have Lily, who's a extra special guest. I was trying to come up with a way to introduce you, but I'm not quite sure on how to do it because I feel like you know all of us in different ways. But basically, we all went to school together in Frankfurt originally, and that's where we really know each other from. But then Lily's also been the producer on Taylor's film,
Boris and Johan, producer extraordinaire.
First time, last time.
Okay, last time. Well, maybe we should start there. But then also Lily and Phoebe have been doing kind of their own things separately, which is I think where I want to start this podcast because I found that very interesting. At the same time that I started talking to Taylor, kind of randomly, you guys started talking.
Yeah.
And I can't really remember how that happened. What exactly was going on then?
I don't really remember.
I think it started with being vegan.
It did.
And you guys going vegan.
That's true, actually.
That's true.
And I went
all the
through a
videos.
hardcore phase of Instagramming my food that I made.
Yeah.
And I think we were just talking about being vegan and
Yeah, that's true, actually.
yeah,
Gosh, I forgot.
nut milk.
Yeah, just Instagram.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we were making those vegan videos for
Yeah.
your YouTube channel.
Oh,
Right.
maybe it might have been that.
That's what it
actually,
was,
I
because
think-
I think
Oh, that's what I
like,
thought you meant.
You're number one. I get so
Yeah.
excited when people go on YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Those are
Phoebe's
cool.
channel.
Phoebe Brewster.
The other
But yeah,
day.
I-
Those are good.
Thank you.
The other day? What
They're
happened
good.
the other day?
No,
They were great.
Yeah.
The other day I was thinking about making the channel private because I suddenly just felt so this shame, and I don't know why. Because I pictured if I met someone and they looked me up and then they'd find them, and I was like,
Yeah.
what a weird thing to hey, I just met this girl, I followed her on Instagram. Oh, there's an odd 20 videos of her I don't know, it's just kind of
How I
weird.
feel about the first videos that I put up on our YouTube
Yeah, you
channel
talked
that are
about
just
that,
me.
yeah.
Well,
It's,
that's
a
different
little
because you
weird.
guys do that now, and of course
True.
people are looking you up on YouTube.
But I also
No,
say a bunch of
I have
weird
Dance
shit
Dance
on there.
Revolution on Facebook.
Yeah, but
I've
that's
had people come up and I watched the whole movie, and I was like, what? Why?
No, I don't
Not
know.
cool.
I feel a little weird about it, and then I was like, no, keep it. But
I made a YouTube channel in the 10th grade.
I know. I remember you told me about that, and I was like, where is it?
What is it about?
Deleted all of it.
What?
Oh.
Yeah. I got, and
There's a lot.
actually
Wow.
there was somebody in our class who did find it and was like, oh, I love it. It's so great. But I just watched so much YouTube and I wanted to be a YouTube star.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to make a video about my
It's
shoe
quite
collection.
fun.
Let me
Shoe
show you
collection.
how many
That's-
pairs of
that's cool.
Toms
Yeah.
I have. They're new and cool.
No, it's quite fun.
But then I think I made 5 videos and I was just copying what other people were doing, the people that I was watching.
Yeah.
And then I think somebody finding them who I actually knew in real life.
Yeah, that's suddenly mortifying.
Yeah. And then I don't know how people did that, especially high schoolers. That's
Yeah.
so intense.
I remember there was a girl at FIS who's actually a really
Yeah,
big
she's
YouTuber
huge.
now.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, we did,
What's her
yeah.
fucking name? Or maybe we shouldn't say it.
It's
Okay, why not? She's famous.
Megan.
Yeah.
Megan
Megan-
Baby Megan.
Baby
Something.
Mayflower?
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. You
You
knew.
knew.
How many subscribers does she have?
Oh, million.
Like a
million.
zillion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just saw her on a, there was YouTube Red. Like the
Yes, yeah,
promoted
she
stuff.
has,
She
like,
was
a-
on one
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
I was like,
Really?
who's? I know
No,
her.
I've seen her do like collaborations with brands. Like she has her own line of like furniture
Yeah,
or something.
but I remember in high
like-
school, people would be like, "Oh, she's so weird. She like does videos by herself." And I was like,
Oh,
"Who
she
is
was
laughing
already
now?"
doing them then.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I remember she was like 2 or 3 grades below us.
Yeah.
I
I
think.
think she had a twin as well.
Yes.
Wow,
yeah,
I
I
sound really
remember that.
freaky
Yeah,
right
you
now.
know a lot
You know
about
everything.
All of them. No.
Yeah. No, it is something a little weird. But that's how we
Yeah,
like
we
got back
did.
in touch.
Because I really liked your videos, and I wanted to like
You were
because
Phoebe's first fan.
I was
Literally, and I
number
was-
1 fan.
That's what
I remember feeling really good about you commenting on the videos because like, oh yeah, she likes because I was editing them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Someone really likes them.
That's the time where you would comment like as you on them, and then you'd go to your other
Okay,
YouTube
shut up.
channel and comment. Because
Okay.
I'd be like, comment below your favorite meal, and Mads would be like, I love the lentil dish, and then on his other account he'd be like,
So good.
my favorite's the smoothie.
Yes.
I'd be like,
Okay,
Well,
so
I
I was
was
your
like, you're
second
gonna be a
fan.
big YouTube star, and I'm gonna
I
help
know,
you, and
it
I'm
was
gonna
so nice.
get good at editing by
so
helping
it's
you
like
out.
Mads'
and then-
2 accounts and Lily. And I was just like, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it is so interesting to think about, like, I also would have been like, yeah, Phoebe's gonna like take off. I really thought that. I was like,
right. Same.
yeah, like you have a great aesthetic, the editing was
You guys-
great, and like,
Can we not?
Good music. I like the song choices.
Okay.
Well, we were talking like seriously about how we could make that
I know,
something that
the
you
thing was
did.
is that it sort of came to me at a time where I was looking for a job. I just moved to a new country. I was just like, I want to do
yeah,
something. And it just, I don't know, it was like a nice way to fill my time and felt like I was doing something.
we were
but-
also
And
living in like a
Yeah, we were also
really
living in
weird
really
situations,
weird
so it was
living
kinda nice
conditions.
to have, like projects to do.
Yeah, I think I
and
would
a
have
lot of
gone a
free
bit
time.
crazy if I didn't. But yeah, but then as soon as I got a job and like did normal stuff, then I was like, I don't have time.
but I think that's a common YouTube tale. Like a lot of the big YouTubers that we follow, they
Yeah.
like moved to a new country and were young and like figuring it out
Summer,
and started
yeah.
making YouTube videos and then. But I
yeah.
think actually it's so easy to say and then they took off. But actually it's years of
Yeah,
creating
yeah, yeah.
content
Yeah.
that like
I think so.
some people are watching. I think it's
Yeah.
actually more rare than maybe you
Totally.
recognize that like there are some people who take off, but
Yeah.
generally people are spending hours of their time creating content
100%,
and seeing
yeah.
nothing from it.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like what we're seeing now, because now Lily and I are doing Instagram. You guys know that.
Well, that's
Like,
what
I
I
don't know
wanted to
where
get
to-
to.
Yeah,
that's
no,
the real
really.
interesting
Yeah, no.
part. You're
Just
still
say, I don't
doing
know
that.
where to look when I do
Look at us.
over there.
Looking at us.
But you know this, but no, I'm saying it
Yeah, I know.
for the podcast that we're doing an Instagram account together, and it's been almost like a year now.
Yeah, that's
'cause we
weird.
started it in like April.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't know. I don't know if it was like naive of me to think, but I really thought that it would quickly like be very successful, purely based on like the combination of like our own personal followers. And I was
Yeah.
like, I thought that it would like do really well. We were posting twice a day, every day.
That's true.
For months on end. We were like content machines.
And what do you guys post? Just obviously I know.
Right. So it's kind of like, I don't know, how do you describe it?
I would just say it's like an aesthetic.
Yeah, I think so too.
like-
Just like, no, it is.
It is though, because the like
Quite lifestyle.
It's like zero waste.
Yeah, with like
minimalism.
zero waste is a little aggressive. I would say more
Yeah.
like
But like-
conscious living.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more conscious living, zero waste injected into like our otherwise like personal feeds just meshed.
It's like little things, like little everyday things that
Yeah.
bring us happiness.
Yeah, exactly. And it was nice
Yeah.
to, we both like, I don't know, it's fun. It was a project. It's nice to,
It was. I like having, regardless of followers or
Yeah.
anything like that, having a creative, it really felt like a creative outlet.
yeah, it
Which
is.
I have always craved, hence the YouTube video.
Yeah, yeah,
in
no,
10th
exactly.
grade.
We're talking about like it's over. We're still very much
It's a lie.
at Lil and Phoe. Like it's
Right, but didn't it start more as like you guys wanted to actually like start a business. Or
Yeah,
something
no,
like
it
that.
sort of started with like, let's start with something that's really, I hate to say, no, it's not easy, but a little like easier or tangible. Like, let's start with
Especially
an Instagram
living in
account.
two different places.
Living in two different
we
places.
could so easily like both participate in it, and we
Exactly.
didn't have to talk every
Yeah,
day.
let's
or-
like grow a little bit of a following and then like just sort of see how it goes. We do have some secret ideas.
Ooh.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I don't know what we're talking about right here. But there's always like, we're always like 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
But no, that's kind of like with the Instagram is kind of like a nice place to start like working together, or like doing stuff together.
Yeah.
And then with the intention maybe building a little following to potentially like bring a product
Yeah,
to
because
or something.
like it or not, it helps. Like I met this guy who's a musician, and he was just telling me that he had met this producer dude who was like, I love your music. How many people follow you on Instagram? And he has like, I don't know, a couple thousand.
Yeah.
And that wasn't good enough. And the producer was like, had
Dude,
no
it's
interest in his
crazy
music.
now, yeah.
He was like, you really have to have a following of like, we need like tens of thousands
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
I like your music, but I can't do anything for
no,
you. I
it's-
can't help you.
It's
huge.
such a huge part now. Even at
Yes.
Gurney, where I was working the video
Wild.
production in LA,
Yeah.
when they look for new people to hire as like a host or something, the only thing
straight to
anybody
Instagram.
cares about is like how many
Yeah.
followers.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense. It's like if he has 100,000 followers, they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, great, we know 100,000 people will be reached
Right,
if we hire
totally.
him.
I
Yeah.
think we had the idea that we would start an Instagram, and if
Exactly.
a following was born of that,
Yeah.
how much easier would it be to have a
yeah.
product to sell because
Exactly
you have
that,
people
yeah.
following you?
Yeah, you've already like
Establish like some kind of baseline, however
Yeah.
big or small that is.
Yeah.
But it's been really interesting, just like
Oh, it's been
playing with
so crazy.
Instagram
Yeah.
and actually trying to participate in that whole algorithm.
Yeah,
and-
yeah. Because
Right.
no, I'm not doing that with my personal account. I couldn't care less. But then you're suddenly like, wait, how does this work? And it's so
Yeah.
interesting. This is what I've been doing all day because I do this at work. I run my company's Instagram, and I was literally just sitting in a meeting all day, like what can we do? Like, let's switch it up. Like, we're not growing fast enough. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do about it? And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's really intense. Like, it's a full-time job.
It
basically.
really is. And I don't think I understood how you could like work an Instagram account until we started that.
Yeah.
Because really like not only creating content, actually that I found that to be the smallest,
Yes, it is. Yeah, pushing
Yeah.
out the content. That's like the kind
Like
of.
taking the picture.
like taking
Yeah.
actually creating content created
I'd say
less.
that's like 40%.
yeah, it took less
30%
time
of it, isn't
than
it? Yeah.
participating in the app.
Yeah.
Oh
to
my God,
try
that was
and
the
gain
worst.
a
Yeah.
following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commenting
Yeah.
and like trying to have a back and forth and following up with everybody.
Yeah, who's
And-
replying back
Yeah,
and, like,
and
No, it's true.
That
and you get
took
like one
forever.
regram, like, oh my god, this is it.
yeah.
So many
Here we
people.
go.
Yeah, literally. And we're
Turns
like,
out a regram gets you nothing.
No, I know. Or like, oh my god,
Well, yeah.
someone asked for yeah.
Yeah.
How's your Instagram going?
Yeah.
Not great. But I
I
think,
really enjoy your Instagram.
I do.
And
I
I'm
think the
so
aesthetic
into
is
it.
so
It's so
good.
good.
oh, well, thank you. Well, I was going to say that I think we have tried to take a lot from what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
More than the other,
okay.
like, especially with stories and things like that.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Except for Flonoli.
Well, we tried to do
Flonoli
that, and we're like,
immediately.
well, no way.
No,
but definitely,
I love
we saw you guys
Flonoli.
doing it, and we're like, well, we should do it too.
Yeah.
I was like fighting for Planoli at work the other day. They were trying to switch tools, and I was like, no, I'm like Planoli's biggest
I don't even
fan.
think we don't even utilize it to its fullest
No, I know. I actually
potential.
thought today, I was like, we need to be careful that they don't charge us for another year because I don't think we need to pay for it anymore. But yeah, I love Planoli.
I do love rearranging all of our.
It's just so perfect.
yeah.
It's so visual, and like you can,
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Planoli is an app where you can basically curate your Instagram.
plan your Instagram. Yeah.
So we like stockpile photos in
Yeah.
there, and then we organize them.
Organize
and whenever
them.
we have like a color, we kind of organize our
Yeah.
flow by colors.
Yeah, you do it so well. Sometimes I just
Yeah.
like, I do something and then I'm like, I don't know. And then you just go in and suddenly I'm like, oh, perfect. Like it just, now it makes sense. I don't know. It's like by color, by shape, like it's
You guys are very good at it.
I do
Definitely.
shape too.
Yeah,
I do,
yeah. It matters, like
Yeah, it does.
texture. Yeah,
That's cool. It's cool to hear.
does.
Yeah, Mads
Yeah.
talks to me all about, and I'm just like, just fucking post it, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, no, the flow is gonna be ruined.
Yeah.
I think this started from, okay, my brother would never listen to this podcast in a zillion years, but my brother has the most beautiful
He
Instagram.
does.
And he has since he was like a child. Like, it's just that generation, I think. And he's also very like on it. And
Let's see.
I
Pull
mean,
it up.
he's cool all
at
round.
f.b.
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 Oh, I see him all the time.
Yeah.
Do you?
It's so
Mystery
good.
solved.
No, but he takes a lot of like. It's almost like I'm like, dude, just post it. Like I'm
Yeah.
outing him now, but he really like
Yeah, it's
takes
good.
his time.
They're all blue.
Okay.
Post like once
Yeah.
a month.
And then they're all kind of
Yeah.
orange. And then
No,
But that's what's
Kind of
really nice
pink.
about Planoly actually is because
Yeah,
you
it's
can
good.
have a photo and you're like, oh, it doesn't work. And then
Yeah.
you can come back to it later when it does work
yeah, exactly.
perfectly.
Yeah.
I
I just
love
wish it
that.
was a
Nothing's
hopper
wasted.
system. I wanted something that you could put 10 photos in and say the order. And
Yeah.
it would pump them out every day without you having to go on to Instagram.
like a
and post
robot
it
that does
yourself.
it for you.
That's what I thought it was.
But then it also like it kind of misses the whole point of how you do grow on Instagram, which is the engagement part.
Right.
Which is,
Yeah,
Which
it's
is my least
just
favorite.
Instagram
putting
wants
out.
Yeah,
you
me
to
too.
be a contributor to the community. So if
Yeah.
they don't see you engaging with other people's content,
Right.
they're not going to.
But it felt so fake on my end.
I know
just
it
didn't-
feels so. I
like,
actually,
hey,
yeah.
cool.
I feel
Love
very
this
conflicted
post.
about.
Sing.
I know, unless you spend hours thinking of like the perfect caption, which is what he did. And I remember used to being like, Mads, just send it. He'd be like, okay, I've like looked at their website. I've like, did his homework. And then for like a comment.
Oh, like commenting on someone else's.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, no, this morning when I was talking like at work about it, because I said to them, I was like, well, we need to do more engagement. We're just pushing out content. And they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, commenting on other stuff. And I was like, I haven't really done it yet because I wanted to ask you how you feel about it because
Right.
it can be so awkward and weird. And like,
Yeah.
I'm representing the company and the company is going to be
Suddenly
like,
giving them a
love
voice.
this
Yeah.
dress. Yeah. I was
You have
like,
to speak
how do you
for a
feel
whole
about
company.
You
that?
gotta do a
Like,
certain way that can be really spammy as well. Like we get a lot of stuff on ours.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
Horrible.
People just spam the
Yeah.
same message 100 times to 100 photos.
I know. They're
And,
quite funny though, some of them. It's
yeah.
kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
say, like, your
the
flow is
first time we got
amazing.
it, I knew nothing about Instagram. I was
Yeah.
like, we can help you with marketing. And I was like, we need to talk to these people.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
who are these people?
Or like sometimes I
Yeah,
could tell
no.
it was you replying because you,
Yeah.
you would write like,
Oh, thank
maybe
you so
next
much.
time.
I remember like having a
you,
phase
no.
where I'd get really sarcastic with my replies to comments like that.
I don't
Like,
think
oh, what
they,
a coinstance that you love our work so much. I
they
love it
never
too.
see that.
Stuff
No,
like that.
it's like, no.
And
Anyways,
then like no one would reply. Do you remember that though?
Yeah. A couple. Yeah.
I used to be so into Instagram.
I know you read like 50 books about it and like.
I actually read like 4 full social media marketing books.
That's what I was about to say. I actually read 50 books about it.
I thought it was going
Bookshelf
as
is
well. I
Instagram
was
books.
like, no.
No, but it wasn't just like I read a book.
Yeah,
I
no,
actually
I
got
know,
really
I
into it
remember.
and it was all about.
You used to be like, I'm in
that.
my Instagram engagement hour, like commence,
Oh.
and you
Yeah.
just be like, love this.
And now I
post.
hate it. And now I almost. But it's so easy to
But
say
we
because it's
we had
not
the
working.
same purpose. We said we want to do social media and YouTube so that we can gather an audience, so that we don't have to go to film production companies. We can make films and say, we've got 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
They'll watch our film.
Yeah.
And we can show that to investors and everything. And then, it turns out it's really hard to gain 100,000 followers.
And you just lose
It's
that
like
motivation, I guess.
But I think also now it's more towards like we just do the things that we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And honestly, it feels healthier for me. It feels healthier just what
yeah.
we're doing. And I'm like, at some point, if we do it for long enough, I think it's that whole
That's
idea
what I
like
think
your
as
fans
well.
will
Yeah.
come at some point
Yeah,
if you just keep doing.
I think so too.
And we are
Thing that
still
you like
posting,
doing.
which I'm glad we're not doing it as often as we
Right.
were.
No, but you're doing
We're
it every-
maintaining a
Yeah.
level of presence that
Yeah.
if something does
And it's
does
fun,
well
and
that
it just
we've
takes a little
produced,
bit of work
people
to
can
sit
find
down
it.
for 30 minutes, edit like
Yeah.
10 pictures, and then you're good for the next
Yeah.
2 weeks or something.
Yeah, it's
The
not
real
bad.
problem is having pictures. I notice we
Yeah.
don't take a lot of pictures of each other or like.
No, I mean
You
we have
know.
to
Well, also
really
you guys
remember
are like
to do
in
it.
the same room all the
Yeah,
time. It's
oh
not
my
like
God.
you're out and about to
Yeah.
kind of like get.
In the office again.
Yeah,
In the closet again.
Yeah, that's
Check
how
out the
I feel.
closet.
Just with the lighting, like we used to have so much content, and now I'm like really struggling.
We
because it's
actually
like-
have like a
We're actually
serious
good now.
lineup.
Yeah, we're actually good. But there was a moment, like I swear,
Yeah.
just as it started getting cold, where I was just like, I go to work, it's dark in the morning, I come back, it's dark. What am I
Yeah.
gonna take? I have like, okay, my electricity in my kitchen is a little special, but I'm like, what am I gonna take a photo of? Like my dinner in this weird yellow
Yeah,
light.
you can't do that with
Like it looks
food,
so
no.
bad. I can't do it, and it's cold,
Yeah.
so I'm not out anymore. So I'm like,
But you know, I just realized we've never been like totally dry.
I
with
know.
photos.
Yeah, we've had days where
We've
we
had-
haven't
we've
posted,
had
but that's because
one
we
row,
forgot.
I think.
Yeah.
Like we had 3 photos.
Yeah.
Like, lined up.
Yeah. Yes,
And then
I
there are
think so.
times where we don't have much, and so we
Yeah.
take from the stock and like
But
throw
that's
them in.
fine. Yeah.
But then we don't. But then we end up usually like
It's a
having
good kick
some
in
more,
the butt
yeah, like
sometimes. Yeah.
some current content. But yeah, we've never actually not
Oh.
had a photograph.
Which is
post.
like impressive for like a year. I keep saying year, almost a year. That's
Yeah.
quite good.
yeah,
Well done.
you too.
But I wanted to, now that you said it was secret, maybe you could just not answer, we just
Oh,
cut it
it's-
out. But I wanted to ask like what it was that you guys were actually planning on making, or
I mean, it's
where that
something-
is, or what you're planning on doing with it.
I don't know. I think it's a really great idea.
Yeah, we have some really good ideas that we got. Like, we are so excited. I remain excited about
Yeah,
it.
me
And
too.
we had a long, like, this was like over a year, like way before we did the Instagram account, that we were just gonna like full on launch into like, let's just do this.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
want
we
to
had
make.
business meetings.
We
took minutes.
We did. You know, I want to pull up those notes
I
because
know.
like they're so good and just you can like so passionate and so
I think
yeah.
you should, because I was really into it and I thought it was a great
I
idea. And I
know.
think
No,
you guys could
I'm
do
not.
something with
I'm
it.
not closing any doors. I just think
No.
the way that we, the Instagram is kind of like evolved
Eye-opening
and
also,
and also
that
been
Just
Yeah,
like
it's a
with you
lot
two,
more.
it's
Yeah.
a lot more. You don't just hop on Instagram and
Right.
like have
Yeah.
a million
Right.
followers.
Could you imagine if
who
you'd
wanna
done the
buy something
YouTube
from
and
you.
suddenly you just got 1 million subscribers?
I think about that. No, I don't think about that. I thought about that when I was like in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I would like that much, because I did like that it was on my time, and I could just like. There wasn't any like deadlines or like people being like, why didn't you upload, or like how it gets like
people
kind of
do,
sick.
Yeah.
Really?
And I did think, like, I was like, actually, I don't know. Like, I don't. At one point, I was like, yes, this is the goal. Like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. But then I was like, oh my god, that might be like a bit too much.
Well,
like,
I
what
wanted
if
to be a YouTuber at one point too, and it's like the last thing I want to be.
Yeah.
And it's just weird how it changes things that you
Well,
think
also
you want.
when you
You
watch
realize
it,
it's not
yeah.
what I wanted.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah.
going to give me what I was looking for, but it's
Yeah.
actually not at all.
Yeah.
Definitely. When you watch it, it looks very easy.
Yeah.
With people
It
who do it
does.
well, you're like,
It does.
that looks so easy. They just
Yeah.
sit down for 10 minutes a day and they're just like doing something and they're
People
getting
that
a million.
vlog
and it's like,
every day.
yeah, but once you
I'm
do
like,
it,
That's
it's like,
insane.
it's so much work.
It's
That daily vlogging.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's gotta like completely take over
Yeah.
your life.
I wonder if it even becomes weird separation between like YouTube and then just
YouTube.
reality at some
I know,
point if you're
'cause-
just filming all the time.
I know, it's so bizarre. And
Yeah.
we watched this really interesting, you've seen it. It's that woman, the unnatural vegan on YouTube. We watched her that video she made about Ellen Fisher.
Oh, I told Taylor
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it yesterday.
Yeah, and she had a lot to say about specifically like having children, like family vloggers. And it was just so interesting. She was talking about like,
Me and Taylor have had some heated conversations
Have
about
you?
that.
We had a
Yeah.
podcast that we never aired.
you never aired.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
shit.
only one ever.
Yeah, we had to re-record it.
Really?
Well, I didn't
The
know.
lost
To
episode.
be honest, I did not know what I was talking about when we were talking about it.
Okay, fine.
Maybe it's a good segue. I mean, into because it was talking about. I was saying that, with you being pregnant, maybe something I could see myself doing was having some kind of YouTube channel focused around parenting
Yeah.
from
Yeah, we
the
spoke about this, and I still don't
guy's
know
point
how,
of view.
I don't know how I feel about that.
And and we were saying this on the podcast, and Taylor
Yeah.
was like, I don't know exactly what he said, but he basically said that's.
I think I just had the experience of like,
really kind of fucked up.
No, I just
was like,
had
oh,
seen some
God.
stuff where I really didn't agree with
Yeah,
the way the
there's
parents were
so-
putting their
yeah.
kids online and like
Yeah.
in my opinion.
No, but it's
And,
not. I
um,
think it's something that can really be argued well, and
Right.
I've seen it. Too,
But then I also
a
listened to
lot
what you
more.
said and it's
Yeah, but I wasn't really thinking about it much when I was
Right.
saying it. And,
Yeah.
But it is something that is
It's kind
a
of
bit odd when
bizarre.
you see, because it's hard to argue that they're not. The children are
Yeah.
being used,
yeah,
even if it's not in like a mean way.
yeah.
they do provide value to the YouTube channels. And
Yeah.
Well, children also can't give consent, really.
Yeah.
But also, aside from that, I just know some channels where it's basically, I mean, parents are giving their kids like scripts. And you have like a totally like fake setup of these kids, and it'll be like,
so weird.
they set up this thing that the kid buys Fortnite money or something,
Yeah.
and it's like filmed in this really bizarre
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
or like, I was just like, oh, it's so
No,
cringy and
no,
so,
it's
it
so-
feels like child abuse.
Yeah. Well,
And like
then-
YouTubers, like reaction channels have done stuff on
Yeah.
it, and it's like, what the fuck is this? This like
yeah.
desperation for fame that
That's
you would
what
even
she
take your
said.
kids.
on the like where you upload your video now, that it has a little pop
that
up that
was
said like, are you
interesting.
abiding by like the child
Labor
labor
laws.
laws? Yeah.
Or what were we talking about? The kid who
Yeah, it
was
was,
like
like,
one
on
of the
the
top
news.
YouTubers.
He was the top. I think that's why it was breaking like a
The top toy
story.
channel or something, toy review channel or something.
Yeah, something.
This kid making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And
Like
what
millions.
is it?
He just like, oh, I don't watch it.
No. But, huh?
He
like-
reviews toys.
Yeah, like each video is like, oh,
Right.
whatever his name is, Kevin gets a
Right.
what's a
how
cool
old
toy,
is
and then he
this
like
kid?
opens it. I think he was like
5 or 6.
7 or even 5. Yeah.
And the thing is, there's millions of views on these videos, and I'm sure, like, I know a lot of small kids. No, I've seen,
Name one small kid.
but just like you'll see like small kids on iPads now, and it's very
Yeah.
common to see them watching YouTube videos and stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're also like, 100% there's some creepy motherfuckers
No, I'd be so
out there
interested to
watching.
see his.
Yeah. Well, who's these 4 million people watching this toy? It's just a very bizarre thing that
It's so
you
strange.
wouldn't address that as a parent a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but what about, so I sent Phoebe these beautiful, I follow a lot of like birth and doula and like motherhood
Yeah,
people
yeah.
on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And
photos,
yeah.
yes.
And there's one woman who posts a lot of, I think she would also maybe call herself an activist, like a birth worker.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And she posted these beautiful photographs
really nice.
of this
what you showed me?
pregnant
Yeah, I showed you.
woman
I'm
who's
gonna pull them
naked, and her son is also naked. I would say he's maybe 4 years old, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They're both naked, and it's somewhere in Australia, and they're on this sand duney beach.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
beautiful.
beautiful, and I was so lost in how the imagery
Yeah.
of what I was thinking is art.
Yeah.
I didn't even, the thought didn't even cross my mind that this little boy was exposed and
Yeah, yeah.
naked, and that like,
And it was on Instagram.
and it was on Instagram, and
That's so interesting.
and so then they were flagged, I think, and taken down, and
Yeah.
then she reposted some from the same collection of photographs, but that kind of covered the little boy a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
And but with this whole reply as to how people like just went crazy about it because of things like that are totally legitimate. Like you just said,
but
like
I'm
he can't
split on the
he
issue
can't-
because
yeah.
El Topo, Jodorowsky's film, or like Window Water Baby, I forget what that
Yeah.
movie is by
yeah.
what's his fucking name? Which is that Home Birth.
Yeah.
Beautiful movies, beautiful short films
Yeah.
that I'm completely fine with. Because they're like in the name of art or something, but
Right.
then
Yeah.
where's
But
the line?
It's
sort of?
just really
Why-
interesting. I felt like
Find
these
it.
these viewers who were seeing these images,
Yeah.
not that you should have seen them the way that I did, but it just, the thought never crossed my mind that there was something wrong with
Yeah,
them
yeah,
because
no.
it was so beautiful, and
Yeah.
and you could really feel like the love between this mother and her child. Oh, she's also
Yeah.
pregnant with another child.
Yeah.
And so, and there are photos where they're together, and then they're kind of
Remember her name? I
running.
can't find it.
I think she's like Tribe.
Yeah, I was just
Something
on there, but
Mama.
It's not there anymore.
She's actually
she
recently
took- she had
taken a
to
break
take it
from
down.
Instagram.
I think there's a major difference between a photo and a video.
Oh, maybe. I mean,
But
it
I
is.
don't have a problem. Like Jodorowsky had his own son in El Topo, and his son is like naked throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
I never thought about it. I was like, this is so beautiful. This
Yeah.
is such an interesting.
But
film
even,
as well,
but
right?
even
It's a film.
now,
It's
Yeah.
not real.
Huh?
It's not. He's playing a character.
No, but the things on YouTube technically wouldn't be real either if they're like creating little things. Or something. I have a huge problem with that.
But it's being.
But
It's not trying to say, oh, this is just like an act. This is like we're pretending like.
right, I
the
guess that's a
kid
bit of
is
it.
like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Well, two things. Like, first, do you have naked photos of yourself as a baby or as a young child? Do you? Yeah. Like, I do as well. And I wouldn't feel uncomfortable sharing them with any. I'm a child. Like, children are supposed to be naked sometimes.
Yeah.
And second, I think it's sometimes maybe that adults have a hard time. Like, children, I don't think are they aren't inherently sexual.
Yeah.
They're just naked. And I think grown-ups need to make a greater effort to have a relationship with their body outside of sexuality. And just like, you can just be naked, and then there's like sexual nakedness, but then there's also just like naked, where you're not being sexual. And I think that because grown-ups maybe don't have that relationship with their own bodies, that then it's so hard to not see a little naked boy and his little penis and be like, oh my gosh, you know? Like, no, he's just a little boy who's naked on the beach with his mother, and these are beautiful photographs, and we don't need to turn it into some kind of political debate about, and at the same time, I feel like you do, I'm split. Like, I understand that consent is very important,
of course,
and maybe he will grow up and he will be so upset that he was naked across the internet. But I don't know.
I feel like
It's a tough one.
for me, it's more the consent thing is more about like if it's a video and they're seen interacting with their friends, or it's like their birthday party, or it's just a day in the life of my toddler or whatever. It's them saying things and maybe being a bit silly, or
Just
maybe
letting.
not knowing something, and then later on having that be online and everyone can kind of go in and judge them or analyze them.
It's very
or
intimate.
figure things. It's like to me, it's not the nudity thing. It's just purely maybe they don't want everyone to have an opinion about them, but in a photo it's
that's so true.
that's kind of not there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So even like some of the channels that we watch, where it seems like these are like the nicest people ever, I'm still a little like conflicted about these children being online and being part of the videos.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Casey Neistat does it really well because he never
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
her face.
Yeah.
She's never really in them. It's
Yeah.
only like
I remember that video
she's
where
there
he said
in like
he was
this
going to
abstract way
Right.
because she is part of his life. And
Yeah.
he's being honest.
It's good because you think about it, like, he's
do like that.
massive, and if
Yeah.
people could recognize her, that could be like a
Yeah,
serious thing in
that's the
school,
whole issue
or
in
like,
itself.
Oh, that's
But I
that
have
girl. That's
seen
someone
in
who's-
New York, I've seen many bloggers, and especially as a nanny there, and then a nanny in a particular neighborhood. I would be at the playground. I would see a blogger and her children walk by,
Right.
who I knew, and then I
Yeah.
would see them over and over again. And even just when I was visiting for 2 weeks, I saw them all again. Like
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
And I remember once I think I was like 19 maybe, and visiting one of my sisters in New York, and there was it was the beginning of the whole mommy blogger thing.
Yeah.
And there was one that my sisters and I followed, and we saw her walking with her children, and we were like, should we go say hi or something? And we just kind of sat and like watched her.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, like, how scary to be. It was just her and her young children, and even though like we're women
had the
and it would have
nicest
been
intention,
friendly,
like,
and like we're
obviously.
sisters, like we mean
But
no
think
harm.
about all the people that were around that might
Right?
have, like, yeah,
or
that's really
it's
weird.
just the exact same thing as somebody in our grade finding my silly YouTube video.
Yeah.
It suddenly brought like the virtual world and the real world. Like there was an intersection there that would be very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I know so much about that woman. She doesn't even know that I exist.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
What was your experience? Weren't you saying with those vegan YouTube videos that you
Yeah.
made, once somebody was like, oh, I've seen your videos.
Oh my gosh, this was like my celebrity moment. The
What?
one and only. Did I not tell you? I swear, no, I
Maybe you
must have
did.
told you this. Oh, I must have.
remember this.
You told
This
me, and I was
was this was like, oh my gosh, I've never blushed so hard. So first of all, I was on a work trip with my boss, just me and him. So it was my first ever work trip with him. We were going to London, so I'm like, okay, good impression. It's gonna be a good trip. We touched down in London, and I'm like, hey, we should probably hop on the Heathrow Express, like this train so we can get into town really quickly. Like, you know, kind of like, I know what to do here. Like, follow me. So he's like, okay, let's go. So we're walking up and there's like a ticket guy. And I'm like, oh, let's go over here and get some tickets. And we approach this ticket guy. And he goes, Phoebe? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know many people. You know, I would 100% know if I've met you before, you know, and I'm just like, I've never met this person. I'm like, shoot, this is so embarrassing in front of my boss. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't remember who you are. And he goes, no, we haven't met. I was like, oh. Yeah, I was like, he goes, I've seen your videos on YouTube.
So bizarre.
He goes, I've seen your videos. And I was like, and I turned to my boss and he's like, I was just like, do I look really good right now? Or do I look really creepy right now? Like, what? And he was like, I love your videos. And then turns out he knows me through like a mutual friend, an old colleague. And he's vegan. Yeah, and the colleague was like, he was, she told me a while ago, she's like, I recommended your videos too.
Right.
Friend of mine who's vegan wanted a recipe, blah, blah, blah. But it was just so bizarre, like one of those like such a small world situations. Yeah. He was like, yeah, I watch your videos, like the whole thing. And he was like, yeah, here's a ticket, here you go, like I'll hook you up. And we're like, sweet. And then we walk away and my boss, it was almost like he didn't make such a big deal out of it, like it was normal. Mm-hmm. He was like, wow, okay, here we go. Kind of like, yeah. And I was like,
you know what you're doing.
I know, yeah. I was like,
you should do your own videos.
No, but kind of like, okay, London, your city. Like, where do we go next? And I was like,
you're like,
yeah. She's like, all right.
This guy, London's your city.
I don't know why. He's not like that at all. That's really weird. I don't know why
Maybe he's one
that.
of the guys who listens to our podcast.
I know. Hello.
That's funny.
But yeah, that was so bizarre to me. But I didn't get any like weird vibe. It didn't make me like go. I was just like.
Something that I think about a lot though is like the virtual world. Like I just wonder if when people know you.
Yeah.
And then like watch your YouTube videos, does it feel like there's continuity, like personality wise, like or and like you were talking about filming couples and how hard that is and how you change when you're being filmed or recorded and even sometimes when I was just in Frankfurt and I was staying with my parents and my dad would come home from work and he'd be like, I liked your Instagram story today.
Yeah.
But I guess I would be like, Phoebe, solid Instagram story today. But I feel like we don't talk about, it's just not like talked about all that often.
No.
Or what's even maybe more weird is that you wouldn't say like nice Instagram story. I would text you nice Instagram story. And then when we were in person, we aren't actually talking about
It's true.
it.
That's
you know?
My dad said that the other day. I was like, oh, Lily's in Copenhagen. He was like, amazing. He's like, have so much fun. He's like, can't wait to see your Instagram stories. Lol. And I was like, lol? Like, what does that mean? I was like, are you mocking them? Because he loves to mock the Instagram thing. And I'm like, but I was like, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, it's just funny. And I wonder, I don't know, just in the smallest like Instagram story that I make where I'm in it, I just wonder if I seem the same in real life as I do whenever I put myself in a virtual file.
Interesting thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another weird thing I think is how people can become so attached to like a virtual personality. I listen to a lot of people that will say they're walking on the street and they have a lot of like followers or whatever, and people will talk to them as if they're the best of friends.
Yeah.
Because it's such an intimate thing, especially if you're listening to someone's podcast 2 hours a week or something. You feel like you're part of their life or something.
I know.
And they said some people will say the rudest things to them because in the podcast people might be joking and it's like they're quipping at each other and calling each other names, and someone on the street will be like, what up, bitch? Yeah. And the guy's like, what, do I know you? And he's like, oh, no, I listened to your podcast. And it's just the weirdest experience how you can become so...
It's so strange.
Or like, I was just saying, a movie just came out called Arctic.
Yeah.
And it was a YouTuber that I used to watch like 10, 12 years ago who's just now come out with, I think it's his debut feature film. And I didn't know, I was watching the trailer and I was like, Joe Benna, that sounds kind of familiar. And I looked at him and I was like, holy shit, it's this guy I used to watch.
It's so weird.
And I had such an attachment to him. I was like, I know you.
Yeah.
Like if I saw you, I'd be like, oh, I've been watching your videos.
Yeah,
since,
I
you
know
like
exactly
8th grade or
that.
something.
Yeah.
It's such a bizarre thing.
It is.
That's sort of like, when the virtual and the reality sort of like intersect and come together.
I know.
You know,
Oh, look at
this
little
dude,
This guy.
this fucking
guy. We
guy.
don't have a fifth
Hello.
microphone.
If we did, he'd have some things to say.
Oh,
he's
what's
trying.
He's trying. Do you want some water?
But going back to
Oh my God.
the whole idea of like,
I wasn't gonna drink from it afterwards.
Yes, I would.
Sorry, Mads, but let me just interrupt and say
Arlo's
my
drinking
sister's-
water from
my
a
sister's
cup.
dachshund.
he doesn't drink water. First of all, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a
That's
whole other
normal.
issue
Yeah.
podcast.
He only. Yeah.
Should do an Arlo special. 50 facts.
Actually, this is something I wanted to talk about because we talked about this the other day.
What?
So, how do we feel about? Because we got Arlo before we went vegan.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah,
I don't
me
know if I want to
too.
open this
Let's
can of
talk
worms.
about it. Let's talk about worms.
worms are
And,
no.
and we feed him. We feed him
I have to
meat.
open a can of worms.
Those are the worms.
And we repeat. We feed him meat.
No, we feed him the barf diet, which I found out stands for bones and raw meat.
Yeah.
What?
And we were having quite an interesting discussion about kind of the ethics of that, or the kind of staying consistent about if you're saying that if there's, because we're vegan. If
You were
there's-
trying to have this conversation. I was trying to shut it down because it makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, I'm actually talking about having a conversation with Taylor because you're
Oh.
right. You shut the conversation.
Yeah, that's what you
I'm
did.
bringing it
Go
up
to
now.
Taylor with
Sorry.
Now you can't avoid it.
We went to his second
But if
girlfriend.
you say that it's wrong to eat meat because
Yeah.
it's unnecessary, we don't need that. I mean, in a way, it's also kind of wrong to have a pet, and that's kind of the point you were bringing up as like a
It was off
theoretical
of something else.
Theoretical.
Because I was saying, I understand that not everyone's perfect, and I'm actually empathetic towards people who would say,
Yeah.
I'm going to be vegan 2 days a week or whatever, that
Yeah.
I would be very tolerant towards that.
Yeah.
And we were sort of having a conversation where, I don't know, I feel like I kind of sit on the fence a little bit more, you're a little bit more like
Right.
on one side of the fence, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I said, if I just took your logic and applied it back on yourself,
Yeah.
there would be things that just like are questionable.
Yeah.
If you're acting that way towards otherwise putting on yourself would be like, well, you have a dog and animals get killed to feed that dog and everything. But I would never go so far as to say
I'm totally aware of that.
you're wrong for doing that. But I just thought it's sort of that idea that like life is difficult and life is complicated, and there's a lot of situations where I think maybe people aren't as tolerant as maybe we could be, or just a little more understanding of.
Well,
certain
Phoebe and I were
situations.
talking about this yesterday
Yeah.
about how like maybe when I don't know whatever your newest ideology is
Yeah.
that you're super into and you're so full of passion for it that you're like, yes, I will do this 100%. Like I will do like that you're so into the rules and like the rigidity of it.
Yeah.
And then once you've lived within it, then yeah, things come up and like nothing is perfect. And it's really hard to be 100% anything all of the time. And I would say that's just why you said that calling our Instagram zero waste is aggressive, because
Yeah.
we are not.
Yeah.
But there are people who follow us who believe that we are.
It's true.
And we
Yeah.
do
As in
try.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Right.
think
Yeah.
that we are.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's so not true.
Yeah.
And we do try and make a little effort to, or I would say a big effort actually, to,
Yeah. It is an effort.
It is an
Yeah.
effort
to be
to-
transparent and
yeah.
Right.
My immediate kind of thought when we were talking about it
Uh-huh.
was, okay, well then, we got him before we even, or at least I even had considered what veganism even was.
and then consider
now
the
we're-
implication that like having a pet, how it's not just like I don't eat meat. It's like Yeah.
It's a pet. People have pets. I wasn't
Yeah.
even aware of that.
yeah, exactly.
So it's like now we're stuck with him. We have him. We're not going to kill him
No.
because he eats meat and we don't want to support any of that. Then it's like he's different from us because to an extent he needs that to to survive.
Like physiologically, yeah.
But then
Not
there's a whole
necessarily-
debate that
I
says
would-
that dogs don't actually need meat to survive and that they can survive off of a completely vegan diet.
I think that, can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
I think there's a middle ground. I think that dogs and humans are, I would say, both omnivorous. But you have a human and say like you put plant, vegetable or meat in front of them, and I think like biologically the human should go for the vegetable. But then, whereas they could survive eating just the meat, they could survive eating just the vegetable. But if you did the same for a dog, their instinct would be to choose the meat first. But they could both survive. It's been shown dogs are absolutely fine eating just like a plant-based dog food.
Excited about
I don't think, they wouldn't be as thrilled, but they'd survive. And that's where it's like a problem for me, because for like a hot second, I was like looking at vegan dog food, but then I was like, you know what? Yeah, we got him before, and like I think it's unethical, he'll survive, but I just see like how thrilled he is about his meat that I want to.
That's where I'm like, but isn't that hypocritical to say? Because it's like if other animals have been dying to suit his kind of surface level need of it being more exciting, of being naturally more drawn to it. Kind of in the same way that we don't need it either. And the only real convincing reason that I can come up with for why people eat meat is either that it's more convenient or that it just tastes good.
From what I understand, the food that we get for him, this is what I was told in the pet store. I'm not believing everything I hear, but that the food that they have, we get this like, it's like frozen meat blended with vegetables. And from what I understand, this is like offcuts from meat that is
it
being
definitely is. It's like
produced.
The bones and stuff.
It's being produced anyways for humans. Like, yeah, we're vegan, but like obviously like everyone, like a lot of people still eat meat. It's still happening. So we're just taking the offcuts from that and giving it to our dog. If that is where this specific food we're buying, if that is where it comes from, which that's what I'm assuming. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, it seems kind of like the best. We're covering
it's
a lot
definitely
of...
the best option if you choose to give them meat. But you're still paying for that meat, and that money is still going to that industry. They're still selling those parts as food.
Ooh, this is really, sorry to interrupt you, but I've been thinking about this because, so I think McDonald's just came out with a vegan burger.
Yeah, they did.
Right?
I saw that.
Yeah. And I think that's really interesting, but something I think about a lot is I go to places where there's a vegan option, but I'm paying that place, which also buys and produces meat. And when my money goes into their cash drawer, it doesn't go into the vegan spot.
No,
you're paying for it. So
yeah.
if you're eating at McDonald's and you're eating vegan, which I think is you're doing the best option that you have, just like with Arlo's food. But your money, if you're talking about voting with your dollars and all of that, you're paying McDonald's, which is a massive empire of questionable meat. So I think you just do the best that you can. Yeah. To me, that sounds like the best option. Back to Arlo and the dog food.
I do think about it. I feel quite hypocritical sometimes, but at the end of the day, I'm like, well.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
This guy.
He's so happy with his turkey.
Yeah, he's like, oh, tell me more.
But it's a really interesting.
It is.
Yeah. What about though, like people not having pets?
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, within vegan like questions and qualms and all of that, I can't help but be like an anthropologist, and I think that's what I majored in school. And
I thought you were referring to Arlo. You like looked at it as you said it.
Arlo. And people have been utilizing animal products since the dawn of humanity. Yeah. They've also had pets for a very long time.
It's true.
And I think I'm really big into, like, if there's a symbiotic relationship between a human and an animal, even if they're going to consume that animal, like with a cow or a chicken. I think it's very different if you're like touching and and you have interaction with an animal, like a farm animal as well. It's so different than eating something that you're not even thinking that it's animal.
Yeah.
Like one of my sisters famously asked my dad once if a potato was meat because she didn't know. And I think that's kind of like, she was a little girl who didn't know and was
they both come from a package in a grocery
genuinely
store.
asked
Right.
it. But like, that's interesting. And I think
Yeah.
there are situations and I don't know where you just don't think about what it is exactly that you're eating.
Life is just weird. I mean, in a lot of ways, we've bred an animal with short, stubby legs.
Yeah, we
there's another one with short,
created-
stubby legs.
Yeah.
Let's put it, if you do that with humans, people would be like,
No,
that's abuse. That's
Yeah.
horrible. You
Yeah.
can't do that.
There it is.
But it's just like weird things that we do. And then it's interesting just to question them and to stop for a second and be like, wait a minute.
Why though?
Like bugs.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I know that's
Yeah.
very sad.
It's very strange. And now it's getting to a point where a lot of those animals, like, they can't even reproduce by themselves.
I know. They're
We have to
stopping. It's like certain breeds. They've
Right.
said they're gonna start going backwards. Like with the bulldog, they're gonna make
I saw
them
something so
little
interesting where it
more.
was those dogs 100 years ago and those dogs now.
I think
and
I
they
saw that
show,
too.
And you're like, oh my god, they look deformed
It's so
now.
ugly.
Yeah,
they're
or like a
so-
Doberman Pinscher, you're like,
Yeah.
freaky.
Yeah.
If you see what it
so
used to look
not
like, it's like,
cute. Yeah.
but then I'm also very sympathetic towards like, that's just what I mean, obviously we're not responsible for 100 years of selective breeding,
No.
but it's still just interesting to sit down for a
Yeah,
second
I
and be
know.
like, yeah, it's a weird looking. I always like to picture wiener dogs out in the wild, just a little
Like a pack of
little
them.
pack of them
Yeah.
scurrying by.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that
yeah.
was something natural.
They would be scary in a pack.
I know. Well, sometimes we do that when we're walking him. Sometimes one of us will be like, "Imagine he's by himself
Yeah.
right now." We just crack up in all these different
Could you
situations.
imagine?
He's waiting for the bus. He's waiting.
That's not really the wild.
I like that too, though.
Me too.
Gets out his bus card.
Oh, it's so funny.
And the bus card goes,
Fuck that sound.
He hasn't topped up in a while.
You can't reach.
Yeah.
There was no one to ask.
That would be
No.
a great like children's
Instagram account?
Yeah, that would be a great Instagram account. No, like a children's animation.
You know, okay.
Like a Sunday.
I know my mom listens to this podcast. Well, I don't know if she still listens to it, but my mom started writing a children's book about Arlo. So I told her, she's like, that would be funny. And I was like, do it. And she was like, no. And I was like, no, do it.
Yeah.
And then I think I mentioned it to my grandma or something. And my grandma was like, yeah, she should do it. And then we were both like, really like, go, Judy, go, Judy, go. And then she like made like a page of notes and then nothing happened. But I was like, Mom.
Oh,
do it.
Judy.
We'll talk
We'll
about
talk about
it
it
later.
later. Cut all of this out.
So I actually had like so many more points that I wanted to talk. I did not
Maybe we
think
could
we'd be
just
talking.
fire through them.
No, it's
Yeah.
even better. We keep saying, like, if you don't address the notes, it's like the best.
I know,
It's just
exactly.
a
I'm not
normal
saying it as a
conversation.
bad thing,
No,
but
it's-
there are some points that I was like,
But I'm
this
so
is going to be
curious.
great
Really
to
good.
talk about. I wanted to talk about your blog because that was kind of like the first, like, yeah, we went to school together, but we weren't like the greatest of friends at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you started commenting on Phoebe's videos, I read one of your, I think you climbed Cotopaxi, and I was
Yeah,
like,
buddy.
that's cool because I'm into mountaineering.
Best moment of my
And
life.
I want to talk about mountaineering.
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 I
Mountaineering.
never know how to say that.
Mountaineering.
And then I sound like I'm being such an asshole by saying
don't.
like, mountaineering.
No, don't say it like that. Just say mountaineering.
Mountaineering.
I like this.
It's
Kinda like
because what you have to say the
mountaineering.
T, like water.
Mountaineering.
Mountaineering.
Mountaineering? Is that weird? Mountaineering?
I have a colleague called Morton, and sometimes I
Mortaineering?
call him Morton. I just think, oh, it's
Mountaineering.
mountaineering.
Well,
Fine,
What do you want to? Yeah, what do you
yeah.
want to talk
I
about?
wanted to hear your whole experience of that, but that's like a long story.
Whoa.
I want because I'm like, I'm so ju- 'cause
Bullet
that's like a
points.
6,000 meter peak.
It's actually just under. It
I
is
know.
5,879
The
meters.
Sweet,
peak that
sweet
me and Taylor and my brother climbed over Christmas was like just over 2,000, just for some reference. So you've kind of
Okay.
like tripled that.
Yeah.
Was it dangerous?
The hike itself, like the climb, no. I was attached to a guide, so I didn't fall into a crevasse. There were crevasses. We were on a glacier, so there's inherently a level of danger there. But no, I found it like a long hike.
Yeah. How long did it
To the
take?
top. We started at 11:30 p.m. and then, or I would say about midnight, and then
Really?
to get the sunrise at the top. And so we climbed, I think, for 6 hours approximately
In the dark.
in the dark. But there was a full moon, so I didn't actually have to use my headlamp.
dark.
It was great, and I think with a headlamp, I didn't need to. I was already looking at my feet. I realized something really interesting. I was climbing with two guys who had become friends of mine, and we had all decided to do it together. And every time we would rest, they'd be like, what was our elevation gain and what time is it and all of this stuff. And I would actually face into the wind, so it would rush by my ears because I didn't want to know that. And my guide kept saying, like, we're gonna go until the mountain ends, until it runs out. And I was like, yes. Like, I don't want to know where we
How
are.
much more
Yeah.
you have to
I don't,
do.
and my brain, that's not helpful.
Yeah.
That's
The
interesting.
unknown is helpful. I'm just
Really?
gonna go until I see the top.
I think I'd be the same.
Yeah, and but also, like, there were cues. Like, I could see a line of red at some point in the sky, and I figured, okay, like, that's the sun. We're meeting the sun at the top, so the sun is probably right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we're near the end of this adventure, and yeah, altitude wise, I don't know. I didn't really feel. I don't think I really felt it. I felt it a little bit at the beginning. I felt it a little bit in my stomach. Like, my stomach was it didn't feel nice, but I was also nervous.
Yeah. could've been that.
That's gotta be.
Altitude sickness is such it can affect some people like really strongly,
Yeah,
and
it's
it
so
can be
fickle.
basically non-existent in
The-
other people,
the
and it
two-
seems
yeah.
to be genetic or something that isn't trainable necessarily. I think
Well-
you can definitely get better at it
Yeah.
through exposure, but sometimes it's just like too bad.
Yeah,
you gotta
the,
deal with
the
it.
two guys that I climbed with, one of them wasn't feeling well at all, but they both made it. We all summited, which
Yeah.
was great.
There's great pictures on your blog.
Yeah, there are pictures on the blog.
Where can they find the blog?
Lily of the Valley. Although it's lilyangel.com.
lilyangel.com.
Yeah, lilyangel.com. It's also kind of under construction, so take that into consideration. But yeah, one guy, this Belgian guy that I was climbing with, he really suffered on the way down. I mean, he threw up the entire way down, and the descent was so much harder than the ascent, I found, because I was,
Yeah.
my legs felt almost as if I was drunk. Like, towards the end, I was really like, would I roll? Like, I was walking
That
towards
is probably altitude sickness. Then.
maybe.
But
I was looking at this refugio, and it was bright red, and for hours it was never getting closer, and that was just getting. I have patience for days, but that was really getting to me. And the man who was my guide, he was like, "Let go, Lily," and he was just like plummeting down this mountain, and he was like, just like, be free. And I was like, I'm free. Like, you're going so much faster than I am, and my legs were wobbly, and
Oh God.
yeah. But I also hiked. My parents, when I was 2, took me and my 2 older sisters on this crazy hike in the Himalaya. And I don't know if exposure to altitude when you're young
Interesting.
has any effect, but I was telling Taylor, actually, that not 2 days later, I think I was at a national park around the tallest, the highest volcano in Ecuador that is over 6,000, just over 6,000 meters. And we were just gonna hike to the refugio, have a coffee, enjoy the national park, and leave. And we were both like, I just felt horrible. I don't even know what the feeling was in particular. Like, my ears were ringing and painful, and he was also really struggling, and it's so fickle. We had been, that was probably 4,000 meters. All of South America is the elevation is so high. But But yeah, just 2 days later, we were suffering at a significantly lower altitude.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's totally bizarre. And it really exploits whatever the weakness is in your body, which is fascinating.
Yeah, it can manifest itself in like a bunch of different ways.
Yeah,
I'm very
it's totally
interested to see
fascinating.
how I deal with that, because I'm definitely something I want to do is climb
Yeah.
higher peaks.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Let me know.
So why do you want to climb? Because like between Taylor and I'm into the mountaineering and he's into the rock climbing, like generally speaking. And I'm not, it's hard to kind of explain why that's something that interests me, because it seems like it's just a bunch of suffering. And then like you get to the top and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
It's
know
the
if you've,
same
like,
thing with like
thought
any
about it.
hike, I think. Like I did so much hiking in South America, and even disregarding altitude or glaciers or any gear or whatever, walking and then ending at this amazing lake at the top of a mountain. I find that really satisfying. And it's the same reason I think why I enjoy running. I enjoy feeling accomplished, and going on a run gives me that sense of accomplishment. Just one little taste of it, even if I don't feel it in other avenues of my life, like I feel accomplished if I go for a run, and if it's really a satisfying run, and if I really like, I felt strong and fast, and and it's the same thing with hiking or climbing, I think. But I have a point at which then I don't
Enjoy it.
know that I'm not really attracted to, like, I don't really have any desire to climb K2
Like
or
dangerous
Everest or
Right.
yeah. I think I hit I don't know if that's risk or like
Yeah.
where like the reward like doesn't really
Yeah,
seem.
because for me it's definitely something I think that hangs, that's the risk kind of means that it's going to be more rewarding as well. So for me, I'm not so excited by the idea of reaching somewhere that's like beautiful to me. I want it to be something that's physically difficult or that has some kind of risk involved that I can train myself to decrease and get through, and then
Right.
that's what's the rewarding
Right.
part.
I'm attracted to like the glory. Of course, I would love to be sitting here and being like, yeah, climb
The
K2.
glory.
Glory.
Like it's chill, and be
Yeah.
able to like casually drop to like
Yeah.
any like that. That's something that you would have under your,
Yeah.
like, I can't even imagine what, but I don't, when I watch, and I do watch like a lot of videos about mountaineering and climbing those Himalayan peaks, and I can't totally get it. Especially like if you have people, if I end up like, I don't know, totally alone and like have no children and I'm 70, sure.
Fair enough.
Go for it.
See, this is what I struggle with a little bit, because I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And it's something that definitely like affects the way I think think it.
Yeah.
And,
I
like,
hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too, Mads.
Thanks for having that on record.
but it's not like something that makes me go, oh, it's not something I want to do at all. It's something where I'm aware of how I feel about wanting to do these things, and then I'm also aware about not wanting to die and not wanting to get hurt and not wanting to leave like a family behind and stuff like that. And it's something that's really kind of a weird place to be, because I'm not like, oh, I definitely don't want to do anything that's dangerous.
Right. And I mean, I say that now, but I am definitely somebody who gets very passionate and pretty obsessive with things. And I could see that if I mean, by the time I'd gotten back to the refugio, I was like, right, where's the next one? Like, give it to me. Like, I want to go right now.
Yeah.
And I could totally see that if I made mountaineering something that was a hobby, like a steady, not something I did every so often, that, yeah, I could get to a point where you're like, okay, the next higher, and more, and steeper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely interesting.
It's like, I also think you feel like you're really living.
Yeah.
And I have a personality where like I fear not living so much that I really need to like do things that make me feel alive. I don't really know how I do that in my everyday life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not like out every night and like
I'm alive.
I'm alive.
Playing Russian roulette.
Sometimes just the no, sometimes just the thought or the knowledge that I'm going to go and do something that is gonna make me feel alive, and I'm like in a state of reaching that point right now. That can be enough. Like just knowing that this summer I'm going to go on a big climbing trip, for example.
Yeah.
Or well, maybe that's not. I'm talking hypothetically.
We are. There've been talks.
After the podcast.
Yeah, but you don't have to be constantly in a state of like risk or feeling alive for that to be something you want. I feel like you can look forward to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It is something I look forward to. More mountains.
We should start doing a little more like that.
Mountains?
Yeah, like well, you brought that carrier thing for us. Now we can.
Oh, that's like
Bring
you're gonna
that.
need.
Just like
Like
Bring
a
the baby.
carrier you
Yeah.
could wear to the supermarket.
But they have the.
Really? I thought you said you could go on hikes with it. That was the
You
first
can-
thing you
yeah,
said.
You can
go
go
on
on
a
hikes
wa-
with a
Yeah.
flip flops. You can like.
Well, okay, maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah.
No, but
What was that photo we saw in the Patagonia store of like
Yes,
a couple and they were
yes.
throwing their baby over like a chasm and it's just
Yeah.
a baby midair
God.
and one throwing
they
it and
still
one
have
catching
it.
it. It's
Yeah.
like the best photo ever.
Oh my god, I love Patagonia.
Yeah.
oh, me
I
too.
love that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was thinking today actually though,
Yeah.
I might buy one of those bike suits because how cool would that be on the horse farm
What's a bike
in
suit?
Norway?
Bike suit.
The
Oh, the
jumpsuits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be
Oh,
so
very
great.
fashionable on a horse.
Because
Yeah,
I have a like a jacket down, but like pant wise, and even just like it would just be so easy to have one
Because they're
unit.
warm as well. It's not like rain pants, which
Yeah.
would just.
And
be
they're
like,
not that expensive. I don't care if it gets like horsey
Yeah.
and farmy.
No, there's
And I
a-
think all the German girls at FIS would wear stuff like that. Just sort of patched, you know?
Yes.
yeah,
crisscrossed.
different levels.
They're like the bougie girls.
Cool
Riding
bougie.
horses.
Taylor said yesterday a couple of times, he was like, when I was bougie
Yeah, when I was a bouge. Back in the day.
back in the days.
No, when you talk to one of those German girls and they'd be like, I'm gonna go horseback riding after school. Who the fuck are you?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, me too. I think
Oh, bleep
everyone
it out. Let's
does.
cut.
Yeah,
Oh,
cut.
I thought I was being a little.
Oh, that's funny.
That's
That's
all
a good
right.
place to end.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Hi.
Yeah, we can have you back and then we should talk about the other
we
points.
should do part 2 at some point.
All right.
I'll be back through.
Yeah.
All right, well, see you guys next week.
On Burning Boat Business.